Raptors Weekly for the week of February the 16th. It's a Tuesday posting this time around. Sunday night was about the All-Star game, and we did not get a chance to record. But today we got a chance to put a podcast together, and it's a three-parter. Three very, very interesting parts. In the first part, Blake and I are at the All-Star game, and we're talking at the game towards the end of the fourth quarter, and we're talking, how the All-Star game is going, the dunk contest, and a bunch of other things. And in part two, it's a very special part where my dad joins the show, and he gives us his take on his history as a Raptors fan, and also some interesting comments about Dwane Casey and what he needs to do to prepare for the playoffs. And in the third segment, we're doing a simulcast with Steve Gennaro's All in Sports podcast. We recorded a segment which airs on his podcast and also on this one. So enjoy the show. A three-parter. First part, Blake and me. Second, my dad. And third, it's Steve. Once again, enjoy the show, and we'll see you back next week. Blake, it's fourth quarter here at All-Star Weekend. Here with Blake Murphy, Zarar here watching the game. 3 minutes left, 176-159. Blake, how's it going so far?
It's an All-Star game. It's completely an All-Star game.
You predicted that, but with 5 minutes left, it'll be a 5-point game. But here we are, 15-point game with 3 minutes left, man.
Not that well. That's the formula that it normally follows. Is the game just flows. However, no one really locks in on defense or anything. Everyone scores, lots of dunks, lots of threes, and then when the fourth quarter comes, the guys realize that for bragging rights, they'd still like to win. And it closes out, but the West is just too much, man.
What do you think of Paul George, 36 points, 0 assists, man?
That's fine, man. You don't need to pass an All-Star game. It's the All-Star game. Do you, Paul George?
So Kobe Bryant, 10 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, man. It wasn't his night, I guess. They didn't set up for him like some had anticipated.
No, that seemed like maybe something Kobe wanted. Like, he passed up a couple open shots early and was in facilitator Kobe trademark mode. Right now, it looks like maybe Russ for back-to-back MVPs. He's got 28, 8, and 5. Paul George's got the best night, but the West is going to win big, so maybe Russ. They might still give it to Kobe, though.
Yeah, switching gears here, man. Talk about this atmosphere at the ACC. I love this. This theater effect they got going all weekend long.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's very MSG to dim the lights everywhere else. Very LA Forum. It looks great, especially where the Raptors colors are black and red primarily. It really makes the black stand out, and everything else just kind of pops off of it. I think it's something they should try out in games. It looks beautiful in here. It looks like it's picking up really well on TV. It's unbelievable for photos. It's great. They should try this more often.
Yeah, I think that the theater, the ops staff, you've done a fantastic job just setting this arena up, man. Court looks gorgeous. The colors on the side, the logo, everything
all around town, man. Like everywhere you go, jeez. Paul George, big transition dunk. I'm just yelling at a mic on a podcast because someone wanted to record while the All-Star game's still going. Steph Curry, oh boy, from the hash mark, no good.
Want to call the game a little bit here?
Kobe just passed up an offensive rebound, putback opportunity to give it to Kevin Durant. He does not care about scoring. He's at 10, 6, and 7 now, padding those assists late. I don't know, minute 16 left, man. I don't know, what do you think of everything, man? This is your first time coming with credentials. What was that like?
Amazing, dude. My favorite part was actually the dunk contest because I came in with such muted expectations, man, that I was expecting nothing, and Zach LaVine and Aaron Gordon put up a show.
Tried to tell you all about Aaron Gordon. Me and Will on the podcast on Thursday. I tried to tell everyone.
Sounds like a bit of a revisionist history here.
Yeah, it might be a little bit of that. I did try to tell everyone about Jordan Kilgannon, though. Sudbury dunker, pro dunker Jordan Kilgannon was here at a break and play and did some ridiculous dunks in jeans. Check that guy out. He is at Killer Jr. 23 on Twitter. Go to his Instagram page, his YouTube page, man. Canadian guy who is just like one of the best dunkers in the world. All respect to Zach LaVine and Aaron Gordon. But man, the dunk he pulled off in jeans, like you probably can't even bend down and pick up your kids in jeans.
Well, hang on for a second. What I noticed about that dunk was when he was doing that, every single player was watching him and was impressed by what he was doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Like LaVine said last night after the dunk contest that, some of the dunks that they pulled out, they've seen from pro dunk-offs, and credit to LaVine and Gordon, obviously. Those dunks were phenomenal and incredibly difficult, and they hit them all on the first try, but guys like Kilgannon who just dunk, they're the standard bearers generally, and those are the guys that these NBA players bring up their YouTubes for ideas and stuff like that, and it's cool that one of the guys is like not local in Sudbury, but like local enough, and he's one of the best dunkers in the world. It's sweet, man.
All right, switching gears to the mascots here, man. The mascots from all across the league here today. The Magic mascot is easily the ugliest and weirdest, but man, he was a showcase event last year. He was part of the show.
Yeah, that's the thing, man. Stuff the Magic Dragon is a weird mascot, but when you assist on 3 dunks in like the best dunk contest maybe ever, at least since 2000, what are you gonna do, man? It's his weekend as far as mascots go. Inflatable Raptor had some nice moments. Benny the Bull's OG. Benny the Bull's basically like LeBron at one of these things now. He's been so good for so long, but yeah, good for Stuff the Magic Dragon. I still can't believe that the Magic have a kid-friendly mascot who's named after a song about smoking dope.
Allegedly.
No, not allegedly.
Okay.
That song is about doing the pot.
For sure. Let's talk about the national anthems here, man. Nelly Furtado, you made a bit of a comment there on Twitter.
Yeah, I'm not bringing that up on the podcast. That tweet can live on its own. I thought it was a weird choice to do like a non-standard version of the national anthem. Man, that's tough. We missed this while we were recording. Apparently the kiss cam was on, and like people in good seats. So a guy takes his girl to here for Valentine's Day, and she wouldn't give him a kiss on the lips on the kiss cam.
The kiss cam has ruined a lot of people, man. That's one. Add one more to the list.
It's kind of got to go. Like, I'm not a big kiss cam fan.
There's a Miami Heat mascot running around. Look, the guy looks demented, like a lunatic, really.
Yeah, he's a cheap knockoff of the Philly Frenetic.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's pretty unoriginal.
Okay. Hey, we got a gentleman sitting next to us All-Star Weekend. Yeah, like get him affiliation and name.
Justin Tinsley, ESPN, undefeated.
All right, man. Justin, you've been here first time in Toronto. How you like the place?
Man, other than the weather being like -8, man, I love this city. It's beautiful, beautiful people. I can't wait to come back in the summer. I think you said May or June, right?
Yeah, like come by May, come June, ping me, and we'll go around the town. But talk about the All-Star game, man. What have you liked the most so far, if anything?
Well, I always love seeing Russell. Of course, Russell Westbrook let me down.
Just blew the freaking dunk.
Of course, he blew the freaking dunk, man. I always love seeing Westbrook in games like this. It's just obviously. It's beautiful to see the game like this, man. It's a beautiful game. I love seeing it. Of course, we were talking about ways of how to improve the All-Star game, but I wouldn't do too much to it. I mean, it'll even itself out in the long run, but it's a beautiful game, a beautiful city, man. I love it, man. I'm kind of sad that it's over.
So Blake, I thought the All-Star game was over, but that was just a timeout. We still got a 20-point game and 1 minute left here.
Yeah, I mean Kobe checked out. That's it as far as anything that matters goes. That was that was kind of the moment he deserves, rather than letting him end it at the buzzer where everyone's going to be getting cheered and it's a mad dash out. He gets that moment to check out. It's good, man. Like the people who got mad about Kobe being here or whatever, and taking someone else's spot or anything like that. I mean, it's missing the forest for the trees, kind of. Like Brian has meant so much to this game over the last 2 decades and to this league, and like Toronto's a city where he's had a big impact too, and it's great, man. Like that's the kind of what All-Star Weekend has always been about. Is about the superstars.
I can't handle so much Kobe love. I got to pull the mic away here.
About the guys who resonate with fans most.
All right. Paul George, 41 points. 41 points, MVP.
Of all times, you can't put your Kobe hate away just today.
I love Kobe, man, but just don't talk about it too much. That's all.
Well, I mean, this whole weekend's about him, man.
41 points, Paul George, MVP.
No, it's gonna be Kobe or Westbrook.
Kobe or Westbrook.
You can't win the MVP losing 20 points. Okay, I gotta shut this down. I gotta get.
All right.
Get Goldfinger today.
Here's the scenario. You're injured in a collision and your insurance company is denying your claim. It happens far too often. If it happens to you, call me, Brian Goldfinger of Goldfinger Personal Injury Law. My team and I work for people just like you. We don't accept cases on behalf of insurance companies, so you and your family can make sure that you're in good hands. Visit goldfingerlaw.com and get us working for you.
Get Goldfinger today.
All right, the Raptors are doing well so far, second in the Eastern Conference, and to get a different take, I'm talking to my dad here. Assalamu
alaikum.
So, you've been a Raptor fan for how long?
Oh, for the last 15 years now.
Who's your favorite player of all time?
It was Vince Carter, and now it is Kyle Lowry.
Who?
Kyle Lowry.
Kyle Lowry. Okay.
Yeah.
But I remember you liking Charles Oakley too.
Oh yes, I did, because of his defense those days.
Do the Raptors have an equivalent Charles Oakley on this team?
No, it's a different team and different tactics right now. And though it's a defensive team, as a basic orientation of the team is defensive, but it's not the same team that used to be in the times of Charles Oakley.
I remember you used to follow basketball a lot religiously for a long time, but then you stopped after a little while. What happened there? Like, what turned you off in the after the Vince Carter years?
Yeah, I think there was some kind of mismanagement, and I guess the franchise was lost around in different decisions, which probably were not right, and that was the reason for me to get disinterested with the Raptors.
Yeah, but so far it's Lowry. Who's the best player on the Raptors so far? Who do you think?
I think both of them, the ones who played in the All-Star.
Yeah.
So they are good players, and they are the key players. But the whole Raptors team depends upon basically the bench producing good points, and that's what is happening for the last 15 to.
Who specifically?
Patterson is important, and Ross is important, and so is the Joseph, and now Johnson.
Yeah.
So all these guys are very important. As long as they produce some points and add up to the total, Raptors will be okay. And also it's important that there has to be a go-to guy, which is DeRozan in the fourth.
But you're not a big fan of DeRozan's jump shooting, I heard.
No, I am not, but I'm a little skeptical when he takes those shots. So
Why?
that is,
But they go in all the time.
You know, that's because I am a fan, and I'm not that kind of fan that I have so much of confidence. I always think that they might lose.
Yeah. So okay, so second in the Eastern Conference. Do you think the record is a little misleading, or are they actually this good?
No, they are on the scale of what they are playing. So we wouldn't say that it's misleading. But in the playoffs, it's going to be a different game, because every other coach that time tries to analyze what would be the weaknesses, and they look at it through the whole year's play of each individual player. So what is important for the coach that time to take into cognizance that what the weaknesses the other teams will find in his team, and to counter that. That is important, and that's what is important in the playoffs.
So has Dwane Casey shown you enough that you trust him?
No, last year by his experience, no. But that I would advise him to look at the weaknesses rather than the positive, strong points of his players, because the other coaches are going to play on the weaknesses of his players, because every player has to have a weakness, and there are.
Yeah. So the trade deadline is fast approaching. It's in a week. Where do you think the Raptors' biggest weakness right now is? Like what is the one move you think they should make, or what is the position that they need to strengthen, kind of?
Oh, I think a little bit of offense on the flanks would always be a good addition to Raptors teams.
But DeMarre Carroll is coming back from injury, so hopefully
that should definitely add up, and as long as he is coordinated with the other players, they should do good. But at the same time, playoff is a different game, and that time the coach is very much important in the playoffs. Yeah. How he places and how he judges the other team too.
Yeah, so it's all on Dwane Casey, looks like it. All right, okay. So final thoughts, but don't run away. Hang on. So final thoughts. You watched the All-Star game?
Oh yes, I did. Yeah.
So did you take anything away from it?
Yeah, I guess there was the judges were not very serious in deciding about the dunks. Mm-hmm. And I guess they were a little non-serious in giving points.
Yeah. Who in particular?
I would say Shaq, and there were some other guys also who gave 9 points in a row, which probably did not do justice to the top two players.
Yeah. So you think who do you think should have won? Was it Aaron?
I think
Gordon?
it was a very difficult decision, but at the same time, I think one of the dunks that was by Shaq was given 9. He should have definitely given
Yeah,
10.
you're referring to the Aaron Gordon dunk.
Yeah,
right?
I think so.
Okay. All right, so that kind of wraps it up. That's my dad. He's been a fan for 20 years. He took a bit of a break in the middle there, but he's back now. And let's hope the Raptors can live up to his expectations.
So, Zarar, we haven't spoken in a long time. Obviously, I've been off doing All in Sports Talk, and you've been very busy with Raptors Republic. But as I told the listeners on All in Sports Talk, my new show, Raptors Republic is where I got my start in podcasting. It's been great to watch the site grow. It's now a regular name, not only in Toronto circles, but also, I think, in global sort of NBA podcasting circles. And it ended up with you spending the weekend covering the NBA All-Star Game. So that's a really exciting place to be. Why don't you tell me a little bit about the experience and how Raptors Republic got to be there?
Well, we got there via our affiliation with ESPN. I think we've been an ESPN site for like 2008, I think it was. It was a year after Bargnani, so maybe 2007 or whatever. And since then, we've had a good relationship with ESPN and also the Raptors organization. They made us clean up some stuff. We used to swear a lot more on the site and use choice words. And we discovered that we didn't necessarily need to do that and we were able to produce good content without doing that. So we cleaned up a little bit, I want to say, and that eventually got us into the good graces of everybody. We're still pretty critical of the Raptors when they're doing bad and so on, but it did yield a press pass, which came in very handy this weekend, Steve.
What a great weekend to have press access. I noticed some of the pictures that you had tweeted out or put up maybe just on Facebook or some of the other social media that you and I connect on, that beside you was Blake Murphy. And now Blake, of course, is, I guess, managing editor at Raptors Republic. So
he's the guy. He's the guy at Raptors Republic.
Yeah, he's the guy and does great work. So you guys got 2 passes. Were both those passes Raptors Republic passes?
Yeah, they were both for Raptors Republic. Yes, it was a great weekend, man. It just started with the whole rookie, not the rookie sophomore, the Rising Star challenges and that game, and even that was a lot of fun. I think the World USA format has lost its edge a little bit. Maybe when it first came around, it was something new and exciting. Now it's not so much that rivalry, I guess, isn't really there anymore, but it still makes for a really exciting game, and the fans were into it, and I think you saw a lot of young players go at it, and it was a lot of fun. I mean, I think the Raptors did a phenomenal job in actually setting up the arena. We were talking about the colors they used, the court design, the logo, the dimming of the arena lights into that theater mode, like that all worked really well, and it made for some really good pictures, some good audio, some good video, and definitely when you were at the arena, you got the sense that you were looking at a showcase event just because the way the court was lit up. And like, I know that I've been talking about that for years and begging for the Raptors to do that, and to see that happening at the All-Star game, the biggest arena for the NBA, that was something really special, and that was kind of the backdrop to the whole weekend, that dimmed court, because it made it feel like you were at an event which was a little special, and obviously from there on out it just got better and better.
Yeah, the Raptors this weekend put on quite a show, as you spoke about, and I think this speaks to the franchise as a whole. They're doing everything right, top to bottom. We mentioned Blake a couple of moments ago. Blake's been covering the 905. I know for Raptors Republic a fair bit as well, and I think the 905 is another example of sort of the great work that the franchise is doing, taking care of every step, every piece of work from top to bottom, and really making sure everything's top class. So then you got to cover the first day, and then tell me a little bit about the dunk contest, because you and I we're a little bit older than maybe a lot of the NBA fans that are out there right now. We remember the Vince Carter, Tracy McGrady dunk contest, watching it live as it actually happened, which I think was one of the best ones. We remember the sort of Jordan Spud Webb dunk contest.
Yeah.
And so because this was a great dunk contest. So what was it like being there covering this dunk contest live?
Like for me, I went in with muted expectations. I didn't really expect much from this contest. I expected kind of Levine to win, but not get any real competition out of it. And I went in thinking the 3-point shootout was going to be the showcase event, and which it was. It was a nice event with Curry and Thompson going at it, and Thompson obviously won out there. But the dunk contest itself, man, it just like you had two guys who just stunk it up. Drummond being the key one, and I liked how Steve Nash got up and tried to do the old soccer, the rainbow flick, but that didn't really come off. Steve Nash is not in my good graces, man. He's a Tottenham fan, so I can't really endorse anything he does. And but it was a nice try. It was something new. Unfortunately, it took him a while to get that off. But Drummond wasn't really there, and Will Barton was disappointing because he was one of those guys that just tried to do a really complicated first dunk and lost his energy as it went on. So those two were pretty much already out, and those two were, I think, the first two to go. So it already started off on a bad foot. But then as soon as Aaron Gordon and Zach LaVine did their thing, you just felt this energy in the arena that they were watching something very, very unique. And even before this went to quote-unquote overtime, you knew this was going to be one of the best contests ever because LaVine did that thing from the free throw line with the windmill, which got people on their feet. Gordon's first dunk was power, just all power, and got people excited there. So as soon as that kind of that the dunk after dunk happened, you started realizing that this might be one of the best contests ever. And for me personally, the dunk that got people most excited in the arena and got press row jumping the most was not necessarily LaVine's dunk, but it was Gordon's behind the legs over the mascot dunk, which really a lot of people that I talked to there felt that was the dunk of the night. And I felt that some of the ratings that Shaq or some of the judges gave to Gordon were a little unfair. I mean, the 47 or whatever he got was I think a lot of people felt that was not quite fair. And I think generally people in the arena wanted that dunk contest to go on until these guys ran out of ideas. And I don't know why the NBA didn't kind of play along and did the same and just handed out 50s until one of them basically just couldn't finish a dunk. Like overall, I mean, just amazing dunk contest. And there's after the event in the press conference, they asked Zach LaVine, is this the greatest dunk competition of all time? And he said, yeah, for sure. And you're like, whoa, wait a minute. There's Vince, there's Dominique, but then when you think about it a little bit, you're like, there's a case to be made. I still think the Vince Carter dunk contest is the best one ever, but there's a case to be made that this could be right up there. And after the event, I was talking to some of the Blake and some of the guys, and I mentioned the Vince Carter dunk contest happened after I guess 2 years of not having a dunk contest, which was preceded by some really poor dunk contests. So when Vince came on the scene, it really rejuvenated the whole All-Star Saturday night to a whole new level after a long period of downtime. This one is a little different, where things haven't been as bad as they were pre-2001, but at the same time, it did kind of elevate All-Star Saturday night to a new level. And I think LaVine said it best when he said, there probably shouldn't be a winner. There probably should be a joint winner. As lame as that joint winner thing sounds, I think there's a case where it's applicable, and this was probably it.
When I think of sort of the two best ones that I ever saw, one was sort of the Jordan, Dominique, Spud Webb one that we were talking about, and then the other one was the Vince T-Mac one you're speaking about. In both those cases, we saw dunks that we hadn't really seen before, done in a way we'd never seen them done before. And before the Vince T-Mac one, we just reached a point with dunk contests where it was the same dunks over and over being done exactly the same way. But that year, what Vince did, every single one of his dunks I had never seen before. And in fact, if you go back and watch it again, Blair Miller from the Fifth Quarter blog and I've had this chat before, I actually think the best dunk in that contest is the reverse dunk McGrady does in the first round. You can probably YouTube it to see it, and I'm talking, it's one of the sickest dunks I've ever seen. So, but I think we had that with this dunk contest again, sort of a retake, some fresh ideas. Although, Tamberlyn Richardson, who hops on my show a fair bit, works with Raptors Republic and Space City Scoop, she had a nice article for you guys today on RaptorsRepublic.com, where she talked about how some of those dunks had shown up a couple years back, and she even gave the footage of Wiggins and some of these dunks being seen already before. It's hard to come up with something new and unique. But I think you said it best, right? It was the electricity that these guys provided in the arena when they were able to make those dunks happen, and that's always exciting. So we get the Saturday festivities going on. Before we get to the game on Sunday, I want to ask you a question about global ambassador Drake. When this first happened, I know we were all kind of critical of what does this mean to have a global ambassador? How big was Drake this weekend, and how big do you think he is to the franchise and to the city?
Honestly, man, I don't know. It's hard for me to quantify that, quantitatively, but qualitatively, I guess I could say that a lot of players, we were kind of seated we were seated. The press row was where we were seated was actually behind the stage. So before the players get announced, they kind of huddle behind the stage, and then somebody calls them out, hey, from the Eastern Conference, DeMar DeRozan, and DeMar DeRozan walks out, and you saw like there's before everybody got announced, they were all behind the scenes there, and Drake was there, and you saw like how close these guys are to Drake. Like they're all his friends basically. So I don't know what that means. Like I don't know what that means in terms of free agency or whatnot. But I'm just saying it can't be a bad thing. Like I don't think he's gonna, like he might be the fourth tiebreaker in a free agent fight against some other team. I don't know, but I just think it can't hurt. I think he's definitely his clothing brand and whatnot is selling a lot of Raptor jerseys out there. The OBO thing is obviously a big success. The black and gold is a big success. From a financial point of view, I think it's made the Raptors a lot of money, and it's made Drake a lot of money. So if you want to look at it that way, the more money the Raptors make, the better chance they have of signing free agents. So if you look at it that way, yeah, there's definitely a big bonus. But what it means in terms of signing free agents, which is what most people want to know, I have no idea. It can't hurt, I guess.
But even seeing him coach against Kevin Hart's team, in the celebrity game, and then seeing him introduce, with sort of the opening monologue at the start of the All-Star game itself, I was really impressed with the way they positioned his star power over the weekend, and the way in which it was received, not only by, like you said, by the players, but also by the I guess the global audience. He's doing a lot of really good work here, I think, for the city of Toronto in a way that I didn't perceive was possible when that partnership was first made between the franchise and Drake. I was pretty impressed this weekend by how that all worked.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, I don't think there's any negatives here whatsoever. I think he seems like a pretty nice guy, and fans seem to like him. Players seem to like him. There's no reason why. It's kind of, the Raptors are kind of a bit of a, Zach Lowe always calls them the Drakes instead of the Raptors. So they've got this like rep out there, and it's sort of a goofy, cool rep kind of. But I don't mind it. I mean, I thought when this whole thing started, it might be kind of cheesy and reek of kind of like gimmicky. But it's been totally fine, and it hasn't really interfered with the actual I don't know, on the court product. So I'm happy about it.
Okay, so we get to the game now, and you actually get to cover the game too. Your press pass actually worked the whole weekend. I thought that maybe when you showed up on Sunday, it was going to have already expired, right? They were only going to give you the
that wouldn't be a lot of fun, would it?
Friday, Saturday events, and then you get there Sunday. It didn't work. Yeah. But no, you were there Sunday as well too. What was it like covering the game, and what was it like afterwards getting to sort of talk to or sit in on the press conferences post game as well?
Yeah, I mean, well, just rewinding a little bit. I mean, like after the dunk contest, when you went to the press conference, the one thing you notice is that Aaron Gordon is one humble dude. I think like one of the reporters kind of set him up for a question where he was like, do you really think that Zach LaVine should have won and that you had the better contest? It was basically like a really like a pointed question, and his response to that was pure class. He was like, no, he's a deserved winner. A lot of the dunks that I did are great, and so on and so forth. Like very, showing great sportsmanship, very humble, very receptive to the media, very approachable. So I was really impressed by Aaron Gordon really all weekend. And the game itself, I mean, it was a Kobe show, right? I mean, there was like a 20-minute pre-Kobe segment with Magic Johnson and the highlight reels and the montage they had. And what I noticed in that montage, that there was very, very little mention of the 81-point game. There was like a 1 second they threw in there, like Kobe with 81, but that's about it. There was no highlights from that game whatsoever. Like they did not want any part of that. And so that took about 20 minutes when the game started. I think there was an expectation that people might like players might set Kobe up, but that really wasn't the case. And when they tried to do that, he basically passed up pretty much a lot of chances that he would normally take in a game, and like you knew that he really didn't want any part of it. He almost came close to a triple-double, I think, so maybe he was trying to go for that. It was the Kobe show, and the two guys that kind of took it seriously were obviously Paul George and Russell Westbrook, and Tyronn Lue said that in his post-game presser as well. I think those guys were kind of going at it a little bit. I think Paul George, coming off injury, wanted something to prove, and I think he did that. And then they asked Russell Westbrook why he went so hard, and he goes, "That's the only way I know how to play." So it was a fun game, not as close as I would have expected. Blake and I were talking third quarter that, hey, it's a 20-point game. What's going to happen here? He's like, well, it's going to be a 5-point game with like 5 minutes left, and that's what the NBA wants. But it really never got to that. So that fourth quarter that you see in previous All-Star games where it's kind of tight and players are actually playing some defense, it never really happened. Some guys tried to play a little D in the fourth quarter when the lead was like 8-9, but it really never got close, and that was the only disappointing aspect of it. Other than that, great show. A lot of cool dunks. DeMar DeRozan had a couple of nice 360 dunks. You saw that DeRozan and Lowry played a little bit more minutes. I think that was by design. And somebody after the in the press conference goes, yeah, we were trying to get them off. We know who's at home. But unfortunately for the Raptors, that didn't happen either. And LeBron James basically had asked his coach to play him 6 minutes a quarter, and in case the game was tight, he could play him more in the fourth quarter. But it never really came to that. And I really liked how both coaches basically had their players draw up all the plays pretty much. I think everybody took turns trying to draw them up. That was a nice little thing. I think they should do that just on a permanent basis. It was just a lot of fun. And Kobe came to the press conference wearing a suit. He was the only guy who came in like dressed up fully. All the other guys were kind of in their in their gear. Steph Curry came in like totally Under Armour, man, like shoes, sweatpants, jacket, hoodie, everything Under Armour, and it looked nice. I think he did a lot for the brand there.
Yeah, well, actually, Under Armour right now, I believe, has currently under contract the rating MVP in every single major sports league. Interesting little branding fact there. Okay, so the weekend comes to a close. A great weekend for Raptors Republic, obviously. Great weekend for the city of Toronto, for the Civics, and hopefully for the Raptors going forward. Tell me, Zarar, what's next for Raptors Republic, and will you guys continue to have access to the club going forward now?
Yeah, I think Blake is our main guy this season, so he's done obviously a phenomenal job of covering not just the Raptors but the Raptors 905, and with trade deadline coming up, we're going to be on the ball again, so it's going to be a lot of fun. Let's see what the Raptors have in store. There's already a couple of rumors out there about Thad Young with Patrick Patterson and a bunch of stuff going the other way. It doesn't really make any sense. I like Thad Young, always have, but I just don't think that is the price that you have to pay to get Thad Young. So we'll keep an eye on the rumors. Hopefully the Raptors do something. I think they got to strengthen maybe the power forward a little bit. I don't know that there's room maybe get some insurance there, because I think one thing the Raptor fans kind of, or the Raptors organization basically maybe might have counted on, was that Anthony Bennett might be a productive, 10th guy or something, but it really hasn't happened, and so they need some insurance there at the 3-4. So let's see how it goes.
All right, sounds good. Zarar, nice catching back up with you again, talking Raptors. This is sort of the first in maybe many future simulcasts between All In Sports Talk and Raptors Republic, and of course as we get closer to the draft, I imagine the Worldwide Roundtable will get reassembled and be able to do some stuff for Raptors Republic going forward.
Looking forward to that, man. The draft is coming up. We rely on you guys to provide some podcasting coverage of the draft, no matter how far-fetched and ridiculous.
I get one wrong. Only in all those years I got so many right. I only ever got one wrong. Yeah. Of course, the one I got wrong is Steph Curry. So that one sits for a while. Thanks, Zarar. Talk soon.
All right, man.